defense. If you watched the game against Ohio State, they were getting in the backfield and putting pressure on Fields, forced him into a couple of really bad throws in that game. And let's remember, they were down by 4 touchdowns against Ohio State, came all the way back in that game and had a chance up until the last play to tie it. Michael Penix is expected to be healthy. This is a very, very tough start. And I alluded to it earlier with David Bell. This first game against Indiana reminds me very much of the first game against Purdue last season for a few reasons. A, it's a conference game right out of the bat, which is very strange for a 12-game schedule. Of course, last year it happened because it was an 8-game schedule and the non-conference got eliminated. That's the first reason. But B, it's an Indiana team, as Purdue is, and I think they're very much built like a better version of Purdue. If you remember last year, Aiden O'Connell was the Purdue quarterback. Decent quarterback, was able to get David Bell the ball enough, and of course, their bruiser at running back was able to run through Iowa's defense minus the Iowa's linebackers that game, and ultimately that's kind of what did Iowa in, along with, I believe, a fumble from Mekhi Sargent. But they're built the same way. I mean, they love to throw the ball. I think Penix threw the ball 50-plus times a couple times last year in a single game. They've got number 3 at wide receiver, same, 5'11", 6-foot style wide receiver who just catches everything. He's got speed, he's got athleticism, got great hands in Fryfogle. So kind of like David Bell in that regard. And again, it's right out of the bat. Now, the good news is it is at home. That's an advantage where last year Iowa was at Purdue game 1. But we just know how consequential Big Ten games are, even though it is a crossover game against Indiana. To me, this is a very similar game to Purdue last year. Your thoughts on facing sort of the similar style right out of the gate? We have not, again, last year we had it, but it was Purdue and Northwestern, although those were the only 2 losses last year. We didn't expect those games to be, the biggest games of the season. And if you watched an episode of our podcast a couple weeks ago where I ranked games by importance, I don't place Iowa State very high on the total poll of importance, but as far as level of difficulty, these 2 games might be 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a few different factors last year. I thought maybe Iowa was less ready compared to some other teams in the Big Ten because of the crazy situation with the canceled season and that whole thing. But also, like you said, being at home is a huge advantage. I think that'll help a lot. I mean, last year it wasn't a blowout game or anything like that. It was just one of those games that they just could never, they could never really get a foothold in. And I feel like they should be better prepared this year. They're going to be at home. They know what's coming. To me, it just seems like Iowa's a team that probably is more damaged by uncertainty than other teams are for some reason. It seems like they're more of a fundamental team, an old-fashioned team in that way. So I don't think it'll have the same outcome. Even if it does, I don't think it'll be for the same reasons anyway.